Okay, all right. Make sure that that's. Well, let's. Okay, so let's see. Well, let's see. There was something. Do I have that book? Should be more organized. Yeah. Yeah. This is a book, Pictures of O Sensei, by one of the students, Walter Kreiner Sensei. And it also contains within kind of like the text for the art of peace. So I thought what we do is just go through. You see. Okay. I'm looking for a quote. And I have one part of it. Oh, okay. Yeah, what I do is when I read this book, I connect two quotes, one on page 1 and the other one towards the end. Okay. Now, the quote towards the very beginning. One does not need buildings, money, power, or status to practice the art of peace. And he kind of uses the art of peace as a synonym for Aikido, okay? Which is good in some ways, in some ways not, okay? Because in a sense, I think the term that's used, that was translated, art of peace is Wa-Go. Peace, Wa, but also Go, harmony, peace. All right, but there's movement within situations, so harmony, peace, harmony together, a peaceful harmony, okay? But the next part, heaven is right where you are standing, and that is the place to train. So there's a tendency to, I need this, I need that. It's just say wherever you are. That's it. That's where heaven is. Okay? Not out there or under those conditions, right where you are.
Yeah. I really like that second quote.
Yeah, yeah. And the second quote, let me see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Unite yourself to the cosmos, and the thought of transcendence will disappear. In other words, if you're looking for heaven, here I am. Now there's heaven. I have to transcend to reach heaven. And what he's saying here is, unite yourself to the cosmos, and the thought of transcendence will disappear. And in a way, what he says, transcendence belongs to the profane world. Okay? When all trace of transcendence vanishes, the true person, the divine being, is manifest. Empty yourself and let the divine function. Now, the problem is you use the term divine, and all of a sudden we go into this whole thing around transcendence. It's like we say heaven, and all of a sudden we got to reach heaven. And, you know, part of the beginning quote, the end quote. It's right where we are, and that's who we are.
I don't quite understand when all trace of transcendence is banished or vanishes. Sorry, I'm in a noisy environment.
Well, I think what, there are many ways to interpret that. One is that, a thought process will get me there. But the thought process creates a here and a there. And then we try to reach there from here. So in some sense, that realization is sudden. Probably it's a little bit like you're in a Zen sitting and the Zen master whacks you with a stick. Why is he doing that? But maybe you've done that for a while, go, oh, that's sudden. On the other hand, you've done maybe some work to build up sudden. Let's see, somebody else? Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Is that Yu Chen back there? Okay.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Jose.
Yeah, hi. Yeah. Anyway, we'll do a real quick recap. Okay. So we're just started with quotes from The Art of Peace, and and I say that, for me, the book has many good things in it, but I always go back to a quote at the very beginning and a quote at the very end. The quote at the beginning: one does not need buildings, money, power, or status to practice the art of peace. I prefer to say Aikido, but heaven is right where you are standing, and that is the place to train. In other words, I'm training with the idea I'm going to get somewhere where, heaven is, oh yeah, I'm going to achieve a state there. But he's saying, right where you're standing. And the last one is on the very last section: unite yourself to the cosmos, and the thought of transcendence will disappear. And one way of looking at that is maybe there is a transcendence, but the thought of it oftentimes is kind of like the last barrier to it, okay? Transcendence belongs to the profane world, okay? I mean, there's an area where, okay, you can take anything and put it in the profane world. I mean, people that are so stuck on certain things, they ignore abortion rights. I mean, that's for me kind of like a political issue, but I'm hammering some truth to the point where it's in some sense, maybe it's no longer a valid, maybe it was never a valid. So that's the profane world. You can take something as a directive that doesn't apply here anymore, but you hold on to it. Okay? And when all trace of transcendence vanishes, in other words, it's like, I'm not going to hold on to any of that stuff anymore. What's there, all right? The true person, the divine being, is manifest. Now, the other term is use the term divine being, true being. Okay, now, in some sense, that's like heaven. It's right where we're standing. It's right where we are, who we are. We just get caught up in a bunch of stuff. Empty yourself and let the divine function. Okay. Anyway, just that. We haven't done this in a while. Just kind of start with a quick reading now. So we're going to get into some movement. I want you to look at this. Okay. You're going to play around, and your child is on a swing. We want the swing to go higher, it's more fun. Okay. But if I do that, see, that's resonance. There's a natural wavelength. I can add to it, and add to it, and add to it. But if I do that, the wave function, the wave that is building collapses. That's resonance each. Okay, all right. So what I thought is, what if all Aikido movements, like for example, that motion? Well, see that I'm doing it out there. But there's a natural sort of wave that's created, of which that is a part. Boom. And I go like that, or I go like that. I get in the way of that wave. Boom. 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 That motion. Okay. Boom. Boom. Okay. So since he said heaven is right where you stand, I thought we'd examine some things in terms of movement. For example, let me get back to it a little bit. We did this in Mountain View a couple of weeks ago. Now, take a step with your left foot. And there are two extremes. One, I'm digging my heels in. I'm stubborn and yielding. The other is I'm being pushed. So let's go out and back and out and back and just make that motion smaller and smaller. Okay? And we were exploring what I call, the kidney 1 point, which we'll go into a little bit. But you have your arch, and it's about a little bit back from the arch. And I like to use the analogy that that's a scale, and that's a scale, and they both read 0. So it's not just, okay, now where's my weight? When I do that, I'm jumping on the scale. My ankles are relaxed. There's a relaxed, natural feeling of ground. The reading on both scales is 0. Okay, now try that with your other foot. Okay, now we're going to jostle, and the scales are going to go. And now we're going to stop jostling. There's still going to be motion, forward and back. But that motion is going to get less and less. And at some point, it's going to settle in. 0, 0. And there's a point right below the arch, maybe about an inch or so. That's the kidney 1 point. And I'm standing on that scale, reading 0 and 0. And what we're doing, when I'm thinking, I'm jostling. I'm shifting my weight, creating that 0 needle there. I'm just going to, there's motion, I'm just going to relax. Easy, open, settle. Let both find 0. And all of a sudden, my head quiets down. Okay, that's an exercise. But since I said heaven is right where you stand, so we're kind of working feet, we're going to work some other things. See, I don't want to be pushed. Somebody with a temper. Or conversely, somebody who digs their heels in. Okay, so anyway, we're going to work more on that. But any comments or questions on that 0 point?
Just that I
Yeah.
feel it, you know,
Yeah,
like
okay.
it seemed to kind of naturally come to rest there.
Yeah. I mean, those sensei, you know, I mean, there's a lot of translations of what he said. And one of the things I read once, he says, secret of Aikido is 0. Okay, and I'm going to sit down. And for me, this is the arch. And maybe it's not really even an inch. Of course, you know, if your foot's big, it's bigger. You find it. Can be the right or left foot. Massage that point. Now, the kidney 1 point, I kind of looked it up. And one of the things about it is that all these thoughts going on, and depending on what else is going on, can create stress. You massage the kidney 1 point, it takes a lot of the energy out of here, returns it in a more balanced way to the body. Okay. I notice my left side is a little more sore than I thought it would be. Okay. And just for the practice, other foot. So begin to feel that point as we're working. I notice the right side is not quite as sore. Right foot, left brain, left foot, right brain. So, whatever. Anyway, just relax. And massaging that point might give you a better sense of. Now, I'm going to go back to standing and on-me. And a little bit of visualization. When I'm too occupied up here and in reaction to out there, I'm shaking and the needles on the scales are moving all over. So, relaxing, letting left foot on a scale, right foot on a scale. And the 0 reading is right where that point is, kidney 1 point. Now that noise coming up out here, creates waves up here, right? Settle past it. Still a 0 reading and a 0 reading. Shift sides. That noise is annoying. Amazing how a lot of times certain things practices. Practice quiet 0. But send stuff at you. Easily. Now, what I just did is I started to move. What I'm going to do is just check those points. So you can walk about 6 feet. Check the points. I'm going to walk back. Now, I'm moving, so technically, the scale's moving, but you keep the feel as you're moving. Initially, center ground. Establish that. In fact, that noise is going to stop when it stops. Now in motion, I'm starting to begin to feel that. One of the practice is to when we go into the kitchen, steps, pause, connect, walk, connect, turn, connect. Then you got practice for anytime you're moving, even around the house. If you see I'm going to do that for 2 miles, or you're going to get distracted. Walk from the signpost to signpost, or across the street. Now walking backwards. This is I wouldn't recommend that out there. And right here, in the next balance, calm place. Motion. In the stillness, in the motion, they're related. So what I'm doing is noticing my impulse. Relaxing, pointing, like it and let it ping, so let me check. Okay. Okay, Audrey, did I see that? So,
Sensei, please be advised that about 5 minutes ago, the sound on your end started getting weird.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I can't hear you over the noise, sorry.
Oh, that's probably it. There's some noise because about 5 minutes ago, the sound at your end started getting a little strange. Maybe it's noise cancellation.
When you walk away from the computer.
Yeah, well,
if there's a lot of noise in your background, it's probably just an artifact of the noise cancellation.
yeah, I don't know. Let me check what's going on out there. Whatever's going on out there is not visible from my window.
Excuse me, it's Al. There's some kind of large lawnmower going outside.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. So what we're hearing is an artifact of the noise cancellation, which is pretty good actually, because we're not hearing the lawnmower.
Well, a lot of that's focus. Okay.
Okay,
I
so
used to go.
there's not anything we can do about it.
I used to go.
No
out.
worries. Let's just proceed.
It depends on what you're doing. Like I used to, pre-pandemic, used to go all the way up to San Mateo to do a kind of a weekly session with Robert Nadeau Sensei. And there was a period where they were doing construction on the street. All this noise and everything. Depending on what you're doing, it didn't bother me. In fact, it allowed me to kind of focus in a bit more. Okay. Now it's funny because I've been trying to do movement and we get this noise. There's always stillness going on. And likewise, with the noise, there is a type of inner silence. And that inner silence doesn't necessarily depend on an outer silence. In fact, see up here, this is annoying. Something a bit deeper, that's vibration. A lot of energy fields wide. They hum. I find my breathing starting to deepen. If I'm up here, I'm annoyed. Settle a little deeper. So, you know, a lot of times the universe will throw you a curveball. You want to work motion and stillness, and all of a sudden, you get sound, and there's a silence to it. But anyway, see what my upper consciousness calls noise. So notice you feel here, but also kind of vibes. I can focus on the annoyance. It's kind of a question of who I am. What am I really? Am I just being up here, up or down, or it's so deeper? We started to work those points on the field. Now I just grab this. And there's that closing motion. Okay. Oh. And so I want you to think of that like a swing. See, if I disrupt it, the wave that is building collapses. If I okay. So I may not even push. It creates the wave to grow. Now, for example, here I'm up here, swinging from the shoulders, putting my weight into the cup. Okay. I feel those points from it. And let's see the cup move as a wave. Feeling up in the shoulders. Settle. So part of that, instead of pushing, I'm grounding, standing. Okay. Now, a couple other things. working that motion. Body turns or opens. That's different than twisting the body. Hips. Now for that to happen, my feet are my ankles are locked. I twist the body. Look at those points. Ankles are loose and easy. And I'm able to turn the body without twisting the knee. And from the side view, it looks like that. So simple practice like this. We could go top bottom. The cut is out there. You'll notice primarily shoulders, putting my weight into the cut. There's a definite out there. We'll settle a little bit. There's a difference between twisting the body and the hips. I'm going to use a division. Twisting the body. Hips are ball and socket joints. Forward hip works in conjunction with back hip. Not just the twist. See, the sphere can go this way and then starts to go from this rotation to this rotation. Now, the twisting of the body. I kind of want to get that vibration. And I notice as the hips start to the ball and socket joints. This is twisting the body. Starts that way, but then you'll notice right here, that's your basic tiny ankle motion. Right? If I just twist the body, then I wind up. I'm out here, I'm going to try to move. I twist my shoulders. And I begin to notice as I'm freely turning the hips and moving them like ball and socket. Those points down there, easy ground. If I don't have those points, I wind up tensing the tensing the ankles, and I wind up twisting the body, albeit the lower body. Okay, so those are just a couple of tips. Feet. Hips. Now the body turns, it doesn't twist. Now, for example, the raising motion. We're going to twist the body. Twist the body. No. This is another form. Co-Q. Co-Q. And all of those, I'm trying to move the hips. I'm gonna until I get the feet. Okay, and that's all to some degree in this cut. Okay. I don't know how much longer this blessed silence will last, so let's take advantage of it for a second. So I'm presenting, just how a lot of times, the interrelationship between your ground, your feet, and the free motion of your hips, and various movements. See, most people, all they do is turn the hips this way, but the hips can also go that way. And that relaxed ground connection where you got those 2 0 points, you can turn, but when you twist, you create the 0 to bounce around. And the hip joint. Most people move this way. All right. Cliff, you have anything you might want to add on that? Or?
Yeah, actually, I'm noticing that this movement has a very strong parallel in the Tai Chi move with like White Tiger sticks out, telling that whole like where you push, you go back and you push, and that
Well,
yeah.
In Tai Chi, pull back, press forward, push.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Single whip, single whip. It's not single whip, it's single, single whip. Also creeps down. There's hip action that way. And there's the feet supporting that. Okay? Not quite a meditation, but if the kidney one point takes a lot of the energy that's caught up here and starts to release it so it flows to where it's needed in other meridians or organs or whatever. Just sitting here feeling those points. My breathing, it's more rhythmic. Can't when all this is going on. My heartbeat starts to sync up to the breathing. My attention is clear. And all this is going on, it's just that all of a sudden I'm sort of in a different location to it. Deeper, calmer, clearer. Okay, well, that's just a simple thing. It's something you can practice, you know, if you're standing in line somewhere. You're going to cross the street or you're going to get up to go to the refrigerator, you can. Okay. And let's see. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Sensei,
Question.
you comment a little bit about the vibration at the end.
Yeah. No, that's a big
Closing.
one. Yeah, that's a big one. You know, follow through. Follow through. Follow through. No follow through. No flow. So yeah, it's important.
So what is the follow through then when you're doing the sword strike?
Yeah, the sword, you know, the sword cut itself is a microcosm of many things. It's very, you know, I mean, it's just two movements, but okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on the hands, try to get that vibrational effect. And now what I'm going to do is focus on the hips moving freely. Good. Now I'm going to find those points. All right. Which loosens the ankles up, allows the hips to come. And instead of the swing going higher, because we're adding to that, we're part of a resonance system. Okay. Now this is more advanced. But since they talked about Yamabiko no Michi, the mountain echo. Okay. This is the sound you make. The closing motion is the echo. Up here and out there, that one, that one, that one. That is the sound. The vibration is the echo. Now, at some point, you go, dun, dun. They sort of become one, don't they? That's a bit more advanced, but okay. Check your feet. If I use those two kidney points down there, my ankles loosen up, which allows the hips to loosen up. But that all gets me to that. Now, that closing motion and that vibration is the echo for me.
Is it important to have that sound, to make that sound?
Yes and no. If you're fixated on the sound, you're out there. See, when I'm doing it, I listen to myself, you know, I do the replays, you know, and I hear the sound then. I don't hear the sound when I'm cutting. And I mean, I liken it, for example, to Stephen Curry in a game. There's all this noise going on. But when he's going up for his shot, I don't think he hears any of it. He's that strongly in his center. And so fully in his flow. And then it's almost like if he's at home and the shot goes in, the crowd roars, that's the echo. Okay? I mean, you know, fancy, okay? Pretend I'm O Sensei. The echo is the universe. Like the universe is the audience, and that shot goes in, and there's a roar, right? That one, that one, that one. And of course, yes, you have everything picture perfect there. There's a roar of the cloud, the universe goes, yes. You know, that's the game I play, right? And, you know, I check the body, I check the feet, I check the hips. The feet for me are important because what happens if I get those points, my ankles loosen up. If I don't, I'm swinging from the hips, which is better. When I kind of get those points, the ankles loosen up, the hips loosen up even more. And then boom, there's that follow through. But that, for me, is the echo. And what is the echo? It's key. I'm doing the whole thing. Doing the whole thing mechanically correct. And there's some key in just moving your body. That one. It's almost like, you know, I'm making this up, but the universe was one of O Sensei's fans. He did a movement, the universe applauded. And so he had his own key, but the universe had applause. Whoa, right? I mean, that's one way of looking at what he was able to do. And he insisted in the Do Sensei, so it's so easy. But you have to figure it out. Now, I'm just putting words out. That's kind of something that I work on, but you got to find your own stuff too. Anything else? What do we have? We got a couple of minutes. And okay. Now we've been working feet, the hips, sword cut. Now, again, my main thesis is that most people, when they use the hips, they twist the body. And instead of twisting the body and jamming, instead of twisting the body and pushing, that's what I thought I'd do. This is a one-handed figure eight movement. You can do the figure eight thumb fist away. And you can also do a thumb face U. Now this is arms. Now I'm getting the hip into it a little bit. See, the movement of the hips follows the movement of the figure eight. Okay. See, I'm not doing the figure eight this one. Or I'm just doing it in the wrist, not the figure. Yep. 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 Okay. So you see how the movement of the staff so I'm going to take a step, twist the body. No. Take a step. I'm going to turn the body, I'm going to twist the body. No. Step. On the body. Turn the body. Turn the body. Turn the body. So just like I could use a sphere to educate my own system on how the hips want to move. And if I check the feet, you're kind of that natural loose ground. I'm not thinking about those kidney points, but they're there. And I got sloppy, I do something like that. So, now what I just did, for example, triangle, keep turning, now invert the triangle. In Aikido, that's called the cross step. I can't, see if I'm tightrope walking, no, I can go this way. So the toe goes that way. Take another step. Take another step. Take another step. So you can kind of, if you have something like this. So I take a step, my body's kind of, I call the closed door position. Now it's kind of semi-open door, fully open door, Tai Sabaki. Now, can take another step, body's still triangulating. Or I can take a step. Keep turning, all of a sudden, see, I'm back to the inverted triangle with the base. Okay. There's a Chinese art called Bakwa, where they walk the circle. Okay. And Master Choi, I studied Tai Chi with him. He said, you know, the Aikido stuff is really similar to Bakwa. There's still similarities with the Aikido and Tai Chi, but he kind of insisted, you know, the circle walking. And, you know, the circle walking. You are. Inverted triangle, back to triangle, inverted triangle, step, inverted triangle, step, inverted triangle, step. Okay. We got your points, got the ankles loose and easy, you got your hips. Oh. Oh. Now what I just did, I do a lot. Now we have the I'm doing a figure 8 with 2 hands. I'm back twisting the body. Now, I did what I call one of the fire and water changes. Come down, come up, come down. We can practice this way. Crossfoot step. What is it? Point, base. Okay, I'm just gonna invert with the base point. What does that get me? Gives me a platform if I'm going this way and tightrope walking. Now here I can reverse that motion. Step, boom. And let's give a hip turn. Now I go here. I go here. See, I'm also then working the double figure 8. Along with the feet. Boom, boom, boom. I can trade hands. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Be surprised how much Aikido movement you kind of get when you do a Shiho Nage step. Shiho Nage, yep. Supposed to shoulder twisting. Okay. So what this does is no class at the dojo or temporary dojo right now, but I can practice movements. That will help my Aikido. I'm going to twist the body. What are the hips doing? That's the twisting, rotating. I can go here. Now I can reverse that motion. See the double figure 8. Double figure 8. Double figure 8 with the foot. Double figure 8 with some footwork. That gets boring. I reverse the hand. Double figure 8. Double figure 8. Double figure 8. Double figure 8 and fire water change. Double figure 8, fire water change, fire water change. Double figure 8. I'm surprised how much you can create with that. So I was going to go into that in more detail, but we got the lawnmower. Let's try it though. Conscious movement. Feet. Hips as ball and socket joints. Double figure 8 movement. Fire water change, along with the dire double figure 8 movement. See what you create. Just check in a little bit. So we just covered footwork, step triangle, or inverted triangle. Using the staff, figure eight, double figure eight, steps. Using the two-handed figure eight too, because when one hip turns, the other one does, complements it. Going this way, the other hip may go this way. This hip, that hip. See, they work, so when you're working the changes here, you're loosening up your hips. Two, establishing what I call functional ground. If you stand with your feet too wide, I was reading a Bruce Lee text, and he was saying, okay, you've got to find your own stance. Because if it's too wide, he says, you can't get your hip into it. You got an impressive looking motion there, boom, hip. If you stand too small, then your balance is compromised, because what you hit hits back. Boom. Okay. Anything before we close? It got somewhat derailed by our competition for attention outside. Cliff, anything you might want to add, or?
Not at this time, Sensei. You give me a lot to think about. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Anybody else? Audrey? You don't have to say anything, but you can.
I'm glad to be back and thank you. It was a powerful class.
Oh, well, yeah. In other words, this point where got my feet. My feet are on the scales, they're reading 0. But then my hips are on 2 scales, reading 0. And where my head connects to the neck, that's reading 0 as well. Not meditation per se, but it's kind of a nice alignment. Then I'm going to stand up, I'm ready, or I'm going to sit down, I'm ready. I'm ready to step and turn, boom. So there are ways to practice. I mean, that's why our sensei says, heaven is right where you stand. I mean, you're waiting, I got to get to the dojo. Yeah, but you can, what I noticed, let's say I got to go around the block to get some groceries. It's a good chance. I walk, stop, recalibrate the feet, walk some more, stop. And after a while, what happens is that even in the walking motion, I have those points. See, anytime I want to stand up, for example, I'm going to tense up and twist the body or lean, boom, boom. You start to move more like a cat. Boom, boom, boom. I missed my kid. She passed on 2 years ago. Right, still with me very strongly, but cats move that way. And we klutzy humans, we go bang, 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 bang into things, things like that. So anyway, anything before we go?
One observation is that it feels like it's a lot easier to move the hips if you're a little lower down.
When you're what?
Lower to the ground, like I lower my center of gravity a little bit.
Yeah, careful for one thing. When most people lower their center, they set. When you set, you break the wave. Exercise I do. I take it, okay, I'm going to step back with my right foot. Boom. I'm going to step back with my left foot. Boom. Boom. This is kind of like, what we call crossover. I do it much better here than with basketball, but see, I'm going to go over here and I dribble here. It can, but if I step back, hey, creates less of a chance for somebody to swipe the ball. Boom. Boom. Here, I was sloppy and poke myself. So, and this is good practice because so I set, I lean. You don't want to set and do that. So watch me again. I set, I lean. That motion. It's like simple whip creeps down and heights. Okay. So that's a drill that I do when I'm not too lazy to do it. But that kind of teaches me to lower the body without setting. So I do a lot of drills on my own. I mean, Stephen Curry does a lot of work on his own. He has coaches, he has basketball drills, he lifts weights, he does all this stuff. It's not just, he shoots, but he does do that, obviously. Okay, so these are kind of practices you can, as they become more mindful, as your movement becomes more conscious. And more conscious movement can be more flowing movement. Okay, anyway, we're kind of done for today.
Thank you, Sensei.
We will be in Mountain View. Actually, today we had a pretty big class. Let me just check. Okay, we lost a couple of people. Eugene had to go back to work. That's okay. Anyway, stop the recording.